Okay, we're going to continue on with graphing inequalities with two variables and also with one variable. Alright, here we have the inequality that we want to graph, y greater than -4. So we're also going to treat this like an equation, so I'm going to look at this as y equals -4. And if you do a t-chart, one column for x, one column for the y, no matter what the point is or the coordinate, the y value is always -4. So I'm just going to put a bunch of -4s here. And we can pick any value for x. Maybe you want to do -2, 0, 2, 4, and we can graph all those points. -2, -4, like right there. 0, -4, 2, -4, 4, -4. Okay, so we got those points there. We can kind of see what the line's going to look like. And since it's only got a greater than symbol, that means it's going to be a dashed line. So going out that way. Okay. Now we got a shade, so we're going to pick a point that's not on the boundary line, and let's say we pick this point here. And the coordinates of that point is 2, 0. We want to test it out in the inequality and see if it's true. If it's true, we're going to shade to include that point. So we're starting with y greater than -4. We want to look at the point 2, 0. So we want to plug in the values. Keep in mind that the first is the x, the second is the y. So I'm only going to plug in a y here because that's all we've got. We don't have an x value. So is 0 greater than -4? And yes, it is. So we want to shade to include that point, so we're going to shade everything above that dashed line. Alright, so here we have our second example, and we want to graph the inequality x is less than or equal to 3, so I'm going to treat it again like an equation. So let's say x equals 3, and if we do a t-chart, one column for your x, one column for your y, that means every single point or coordinate on this line, the x value is 3. So I'm going to put some 3's here, and we can just match up an y value to go with it. Say -2, 0, 2, 4. Alright, so if we graph these points, 3, -2, point goes there, 3, 0, 3, 2, and 3, 4. So we can see what the line's going to look like there, the boundary line. And since the inequality's got the less than or equal to symbol in it, that means we're going to have a solid line. So I'm going to draw a line that goes through those points. Okay. Now we want to pick a point and test it. So let's say we pick this point. And the coordinates of that point are at 5, 0. So if we look at the inequality, we've got x less than or equal to 3. We want to test out the point 5, 0. Again, keep in mind the first is the x, second is the y. We only have an x value, so we're just going to plug that in. And is 5 less than or equal to 3? No, it's not. So we want to shade so we don't include that point because it doesn't work. So we're going to shade everything over here. Alright, here's our third example. A party shop makes gift bags for birthday parties. They charge $4 per glow stick placed in the bag and $10 per t-shirt. Let x represent the number of glow sticks and y represent the number of t-shirts. The goal is to earn at least $500 for the bag. First we want to, the first bullet here is to write an equal that describes the terms of x and y. Well, they charge 4 per glow stick. So there's 4x. And they also charge 10 per t-shirt. We want to get at least 500, so greater than or equal to 500. So we've taken care of that first bullet. Now we're going to graph this inequality The x-axis is represented by the number of glow sticks, so we're going to label that. The y-axis is represented by the number of shirts. I'm going to title this Party Shop Gift Bags. Oh, that's not very clear. Let me clean that up a little bit. Let me rewrite that. I'm just going to call it Party Shop, actually. Alright, so there we've got it. It's set up in that terms. I'm going to do the intervals. I'm going to go, with the glow sticks, go up by in increments of 25. So this would be 25, 50, 75, 100, 125. I'll stop there. And then the shirts, I'm going to go up by tens. That's 20. That's 40. And that's 60. Alright, so I'm going to create a T-chart now. And pick some values for X. I'm going to pick 0 for X. And when you plug that in, Y would need to be at least 50. Also going to plug, I'm going to do the intercept method here, so I'm going to plug in 0 for Y, and when you do that and work it out, X comes out to be 125. So I'm going to graph those 2 points. Draw a line through them. Okay. So graphed that, and I drew a solid line because there was an equal to symbol in the inequality. We want to give 3 possible combination pairs of items that will allow this to work. Well, there's 2 of them right here. 0 glow sticks and 50 shirts, 125 glow sticks and 0 shirts. So there's 1. Here's 2. You want to pick which way it's going to shade. So let's test out the points, say 50, 60. Let's say we test this point. I want to see if that's going to be true. So if I plug in 50 for X and 6, this is the point, 50, 60. So plug 60 in for Y. Is this going to give us a true statement? Is that greater than 500? Well, that gives us 200. 10 times 60 is 600. And is 800 greater than 500? And it is. So this point checks out. That means we can shade everything above. So another point that would satisfy this is 50, 60. So we'll call, I'll just write it over here, 50, 60. Since everything's shaded in here, we could also say, well, 140. So there's 140. That would be another solution. Any points that's in the shaded part would be a solution.